Hey, so it's after day 3. I forgot to film when I got home because today was the first day where court really wasn't that fun. And I just finished a mics and realized I hadn't filmed. And yeah, it wasn't that good. It was kind of the first day where it was really like, you realize kind of how helpless you are, especially in a case like this. We're not even determining guilt at all. And they're showing us all these things where they're like, I mean, this kid would have an impossible time defending himself in a court trial. They're showing us the evidence, and it's overwhelming. Oh, two things that they did today it was pretty hard to take, and they did this first one before lunch. So first we had finished the interrogation videotapes, and we saw the videotape of the first confrontation finally with the first time the police officers found him, or the detective found him. The house that they were at had surveillance cameras, and they said one of them just didn't work, and that's the one that would have showed the majority of what happened. They said they have no idea why, but it captured nothing that night. The other one was kind of facing, I'm just gonna have to cry, I guess. Like, have to get the emotions out somehow, and we're not allowed to talk about it. So we were all just kind of like, oh, we have to go to lunch, like immediately after seeing this. And so that was really hard. Which, I mean, actually that part probably wasn't the worst. Wow, my mascara is coming off it's gonna be all over my eyes by the time we're done with this. Anyway, but showed where, and they showed it to us twice. The action is like, split second, it happens immediately, and then she's just lying there. And then we had to go to lunch. So that was just like, it just felt really empty and like weird. So I got myself a cookie for lunch. I mean, and a sandwich. I ate food, but I also like got a cookie because I needed something. And then we came back, and then we had to listen to the thing I've kind of been dreading. And I tried really hard not to cry in court. It's probably really good for me to just cry it out. It's just going to be embarrassing to edit this later. But the other thing we had to listen to was his little sister calling 911. And I'll be honest, that I don't know how 911 operators do it. I don't think I could do that job. Be talking to someone like, and you're doing as much as you can, but like a lot of times you're hearing something kind of horrific. I would have trouble remembering my own address, to be honest. And if I wasn't at my own address, I don't know if I would be able to even get it for police. And I know that that's the first thing that they want. Like, if you ever have to call 911 for anything, just go ahead, start with your name, and then start with the address that you're at. Because the sooner they have the address, the sooner they can send people to help you. So unfortunately, this little girl didn't know the address and was kind of freaking out. The 911 operator obviously was spending the time trying to figure out, like, track down where the location was so she could send officers while still talking to this girl, and she just kept saying, I need help. I really was having a hard time not sobbing in court, because you don't want to just ugly cry like this. And I knew they were going to play this, and I've been dreading it from day one, because they said there was this tape, and obviously, like, once they said that the little girl had called 911, it was like, obviously this tape exists. But it sounds like he's never attacked his sister as far as they know, but she was very afraid that he was going to come and attack her next, and no one talked about that afterward. Like, the detectives didn't mention that. Well, they wouldn't. The defense didn't say anything, the prosecutors didn't say anything, but it was that fact where I was just like, if this was a trial of guilt, that she was afraid about that is pretty telling, I think. All in all, like, they went over this timeline a lot, but like, from the moment of the 911 call, the whole video for that, like the whole playing, I don't think it was even 10 minutes before the first officer arrived from when the call started. I think it was under 10 minutes. It was very short, honestly. Like, it could have even been 5 minutes. It was a very short period of time. Like, they give us the transcripts, and it wasn't that many pages, honestly. So the first officer arrived pretty quickly. They found him. And they did calculate that for us. From the moment that the call was made until the moment that the first officer had the first contact with him was only about 40 minutes. And that's to, you know, get there, realize he's not there, send out a call, get his photograph, because they sent him all out the photograph, and then find him. 40 minutes is pretty short, honestly. I was surprised that it was just so quick. I mean, he wasn't that far. He was like 20 minutes up the road, but for all of that to have happened and then made the contact, yeah, it was pretty quick turnaround there, so pretty impressive. And then the defense attorney kept trying to make the entire time that he was in the like interrogation room was a total of 6 hours, which is a lot to watch, honestly. And he kept trying to make it sound like that was a long time. And I was just like, it isn't actually that long of a time, because when they first went in, they went in to interrogate him about an assault. As they're in there, they got the information that the mom was brain dead, and they told him that. And so they're like, we now have a homicide investigation. And they did their interview was about 2 hours. But part of it was they transitioned into, hey, your mom is dead. Well, your mom, he kept trying to make a distinction. He was like, well, you said she was dead, but she didn't actually die. He's like, well, but our information was she's brain dead. And they kept her on ventilators until they turned the ventilators off. She never, ever had any kind of recovery from that time. So he kept trying to make it like it was a distinction, like they were lying to him, and I was just like, I feel like they weren't like lying just because they didn't use brain dead, they just used dead. If their information was, hey, when we turn off the ventilator, she's gonna pass, and they left the ventilator on for a while. Yeah, it was only 6 hours, and a lot of that was they needed to get warrants. So they had done the interview, and once it switched over to homicide, they knew they were gonna have to get warrants to swab his hands, because he had a lot of blood, I guess, all over. But there was blood on his knuckles and they were bruised, and I guess there was blood on his face because they swabbed that as well. And they were going to have to bag all his clothes and stuff, so they had to get warrants for all of that, which, you know, getting warrants in under 6 hours honestly is kind of impressive. Oh shoot, I'm peeling off my toenail polish and I didn't mean to. Okay. So honestly, yeah, that he was trying to make a big deal about the time. I was like, it's not that long. And you know, they did, because he wanted to go to the bathroom, they did bag his hands, like they put paper bags around his hands, and he had to sit like that for a while. But they had kind of explained to him, like, in order for you to go to the bathroom, which we want you to do because that's important, we do have to preserve the evidence. And he had asked him ahead of time. I thought the detective who did the interview seemed very reasonable and like kind and level-headed and seemed good at his job. But anyway, he was like, we do want you to, but he'd asked if they could do the swabs initially, and the defendant was kind of like, yeah, and he wasn't really understanding and like wasn't getting what they were doing, and kind of like, yeah, and then he was just like, this is voluntary, and like, you don't have to say yes and all of this. And so then the guy, he said something, and it was really more like he was just like getting frustrated. It was just like, no, I've got to go to the bathroom. And then because he had said no, they were like, okay, well, so we can't do it because you said no. So we're gonna have to bag your hands up, because you can't just have someone sit there and need to pee for 6 hours, obviously. 3 hours, he was just kind of in there by himself, which, like, yeah, it's a long time, but it probably isn't that long of a time in a homicide investigation in order for them to get warrants for things, and then, you know, get all the paperwork all together and everything. So I think, I mean, that he was trying to make a deal out of it. I don't know. And then I was starting to wonder if the defense attorney had paid attention to the same video that we all had, or if he had some completely different set of information, because he was like asking questions. I don't know. Today I felt like the defense attorney did a terrible job. He wasn't asking any kind of relevant questions. He kept confusing the detective, where he would just be like, let me read you this dialogue. Does that seem reasonable at all? And I was just like, it's just the way people talk, man. Like, that's, I mean, I listened to it just now. We all just heard it, and that you're reading it off the transcript and putting emphasis in weird places. That's just how people talk. If he said like 5 times, people go like, that's just normal. That's not even a stutter. People just do that sometimes, especially when they're kind of freaking out. And I mean, yeah, it was very weird, the things the defense attorney was like latching on to. This, like, isn't this strange? Isn't this like a sign that he has some kind of psychotic break? And the guy was finally like, I'm not an expert in that field. It probably would want to defer to them. He's like, you would want to defer to them, wouldn't you? It's just kind of like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to, you know, run an interview. Did that. So, I don't know. I feel like defense attorney did an awful job today. It also occurred to me, why is the prosecution running all the tech? I don't know. Alright, I'm gonna go bake cookies. Okay, bye. Okay, so I didn't film yesterday. I just forgot. I don't know how I'm keeping up with these vlogs. Yesterday was kind of boring. The defense attorney has such a soft voice and he just mumbles, and he literally read part by part an entire document in his super soft voice. I mean, it was so soft, like multiple times the judge had to ask him to speak up. The jury finally was like, hey, you've got to speak up, like we can't hear you at all. And he never raises his voice at all. And they don't put a microphone on him, really. They should put a mic on him. But he just mumbled on, read this entire document to this guy, to the point where the witness was bored. Don't know what he was talking about because I just kept zoning out because I couldn't hear him. That was the whole morning. And then the prosecution did the cross-examination for this guy. And basically this witness was just hired specifically to discredit another witness. Like, that's his whole job. So, oh, is it all about you? Oh, I wasn't aware. It's all about pie, it turns out. You've made it. So now I'm really dark. Okay. Zuko's here too, by the way. Looking regal. Yes. Oh, sorry. It's all about pie. All about pie. They're wondering why I'm home so early. I am home very early. So today, we already knew. So Labor Day weekend is this next weekend. So today was going to be the last day. And one of the jury members, I guess, has an appointment they can't miss. Which one of them has a wife who is like almost giving birth. So they were all aware of that and still took him. So whatevs. But, oh, Cora's important too. Everybody came to say hi. Everyone wonders what I'm doing here. Okay, but no butts in the frame, okay? No butts. Look at the regal kitty. Looking so nice. Okay. Anyway, so we can both be in it. How about? So we knew we were going to end a little early today so they could go to their appointment. But then we basically got there, sat back there for like an hour. Well, it wasn't quite an hour. Because we get there at 8:45 is when we're supposed to start. And then they brought us back about 9. And about 9:30 they're like, actually, y'all can go home. Oh, sorry. Oh, goodness. I keep forgetting. I'm not the important one in this vlog. Pi has tucked himself in down here. I'm so glad you all missed me in the like 1 hour I was gone for. We're done for the week. There's not a lot more to say, honestly, for this. So I have declined to tell my coworkers that I'm done this early, which if any of my coworkers are watching, oh my gosh, stop. Can you see all of them? Oh my goodness. If any of my coworkers are watching, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you that I got done super early today, but also I don't really have a day off anymore. And I know I'm getting Monday off because it's Labor Day, but I don't know, I just really wanted today because I'm going to vacuum. It's also Pitch Madness and I'm going to go ahead and participate in that, especially since I have the whole day. So I'm going to be doing some writing stuff. I'm also pitching a manuscript that is done, but not totally revised, and so I'm gonna just work on that a little bit more, because I know that's not how you're supposed to do it, but okay. There have been so many cat butts in this frame. I'll let you know how things go next week. It is not looking like we're going to finish on time. And we kind of asked, and they were like, way up, so we'll see. We'll see. Okay, everyone say bye. Can you say bye? Here's Zuko. And here's Akora. There's Pi. Pi's over on this side. Alright, say bye-bye. Bye-bye.